The sun shone brightly over Millfield that Saturday morning. The birds sang in the old oak trees lining Maple Street. 9-year-old Maya Wilson hummed softly as she set up her lemonade stand. Her small hands spread a bright yellow cloth over the wooden table her father had helped her build last summer. Maya placed her hand-painted sign carefully at the front. The colorful letters spelled out, "Lemonade for Animal Shelter, 50p. She had spent 3 evenings painting it just right. Her dark curls bounced as she arranged plastic cups in neat rows. The pitcher of lemonade felt heavy in her hands, but she managed not to spill any. "Would you like some lemonade?" Maya called to an elderly couple walking by. Her smile showed the gap where her front tooth had fallen out last week. The tooth fairy had left a whole pound under her pillow. Maya had added it to her animal shelter fund. The couple bought 2 cups and praised her efforts. Maya's heart felt warm. Her mother, Elizabeth Wilson, had taught her that even small acts of kindness mattered. Elizabeth had recently become Millfield's first black mayor. Maya felt so proud when people called her mother Mayor Wilson. She wanted to be just like her someday, kind, strong, and helping others. By midday, Maya had served lemonade to 15 customers. Her money box jingled with coins. Mrs. Baker from next door brought her a sandwich. "Can't have our little businesswoman going hungry," she said with a wink. The sun climbed higher in the sky. Maya wiped her forehead and took a small sip of lemonade. Just then she noticed a police car driving slowly down Maple Street. It stopped near her stand. Maya's stomach felt funny, like when she had to read aloud in class. Officer James Thompson stepped out of the car. He had been a policeman in Millfield for 15 years. Everyone knew him. He had a serious face today as he walked toward Maya's stand. His polished black shoes made soft sounds on the pavement. "Hello there. Do you have a permit for this stand?" Officer Thompson asked. He looked down at Maya with stern eyes. Maya's smile disappeared. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. "A permit? I don't think so, sir. I'm just selling lemonade for the animals at the shelter." Officer Thompson put his hands on his belt. "I've had complaints about people selling things without permission in this area. You'll need to pack this up now." Maya's heart beat faster. "But Officer Thompson, Mrs. Parker's grandchildren had a lemonade stand right here last weekend. Nobody told them to stop." The Parker children had blonde hair and blue eyes. They lived in the big house at the end of the street. Maya lived in the modest brick house near the park with her parents. "That's enough," Officer Thompson said in a firm voice. "I'm going to need you to come with me to the station so we can sort this out properly." People walking by began to stop and watch. Mr. Collins from the bookshop took out his phone and started recording. Mrs. Baker stepped out onto her porch with a worried expression. Maya felt her eyes fill with tears. She thought about what her mother always told her. When things get hard, stay calm, be respectful, and know your worth. You belong anywhere you choose to be. Maya took a deep breath. She carefully placed the lids on her lemonade containers. With shaking hands, she folded her yellow tablecloth. Officer Thompson watched without helping. The money box felt heavy in Maya's hands, £23.50. "All for the animals who needed homes." "I'm ready," Maya said quietly. She held her head up as she followed Officer Thompson to his police car. The neighbors watched in silence as he opened the back door. Maya had never been in a police car before. The seat felt cold and hard. As they drove away, Maya looked out the window at her lemonade stand supplies on the sidewalk. Mrs. Baker was already gathering them up, her face tight with concern. Maya hoped someone would call her mother soon. The police station wasn't far. Maya watched the familiar streets of Millfield pass by. She thought about the animals at the shelter. Would they still get her donation? What would her mother say when she found out? Would the other children at school hear about this? Maya's hands clutched the money box tightly. Whatever happened next, she would be brave. Like her mother taught her to be. The end right in a warm, empathetic tone that connects with the reader on an emotional level. Show rather than tell emotions where possible. Use sensory details to bring scenes to life. Keep sentence structure simple while maintaining emotional impact. Use language that evokes compassion and understanding. Focus on universal human experiences that readers can relate to. Occasionally use rhetorical questions to engage the reader and prompt reflection. The police station smelled of coffee and paper. The bright lights made Maya blink as Officer Thompson led her through the main door. Her heart still raced, but she tried to look brave. The hard wooden bench felt cold when she sat down. Her feet didn't touch the floor, so she swung them slightly. The tips of her shoes just brushing the tiles. Maya held the money box tightly on her lap. £23.50. All those smiles and thank yous from people who wanted to help the animals. Would she still be able to give it to the shelter? She bit her lip to stop it from trembling. Officer Thompson pulled out a form and clicked his pen. His face looked serious but also uncomfortable now. The station was quiet except for a phone ringing somewhere and the tap-tap of computer keys. "Name?" he asked, not looking at Maya. "Maya Wilson," she answered in a small voice. A tall man in a police uniform walked by, then stopped and turned around. He had grey hair and glasses. The badge on his chest said Chief Inspector Collins. He looked at Maya, then at Officer Thompson with raised eyebrows. "Thompson, why is Mayor Wilson's daughter here?" he asked. His voice sounded surprised. Officer Thompson's pen stopped moving. His eyes widened. "Mayor Wilson's daughter," he repeated. The form in his hand suddenly seemed to interest him very much. Maya watched his face change. Her mother had taught her to notice when grown-ups realized they might have made a mistake. The air in the room felt different now. The front door of the station opened. Maya looked up and relief washed over her like a warm wave. Her mother stood there, still wearing her gardening clothes, a simple blue dress with dirt smudges on the knees. Her hair was tied back, not perfectly neat like when she went to important meetings. "Mummy!" Maya called. She jumped off the bench and ran to her mother, the money box still clutched in her hands. Her mother's arms felt safe and smelled like soil and flowers. Mayor Elizabeth Wilson hugged Maya tightly, then straightened up. She kept one hand on Maya's shoulder as they faced the officers. Everyone in the station had gone quiet. The phones still rang, but no one moved to answer them. All eyes watched the mayor and her daughter. Chief Inspector Collins adjusted his tie. Officer Thompson looked at his shoes. They seemed to be waiting for Mayor Wilson to shout or demand things, or use her important title to make trouble. But Mayor Wilson's voice came out calm and clear, like when she helped Maya understand difficult homework. "I'd like to understand why my daughter was brought to the police station for running a charity lemonade stand, when just last weekend the Parker children had one on the exact same street corner." The silence in the room grew heavier. Chief Inspector Collins cleared his throat. "There seems to have been a misunderstanding, Mayor Wilson. We apologize for the inconvenience this has caused." Maya's mother shook her head slowly. "This isn't about inconvenience, Chief Inspector. This is about equal treatment for all children in our community." She stood straight and tall, her gardening dress suddenly seeming as dignified as her mayoral robes. If permits are required for children's lemonade stands, then that rule should apply to everyone, the Parkers, the Wilsons, and every child in between. If exceptions are made, they should be made for everyone equally. Officer Thompson still studied his shoes. The tips of his ears had turned red. Maya wondered if he was remembering how he had spoken to her at the lemonade stand. How different his voice had been from when he greeted the Parker children last weekend. "I don't want special treatment for Maya," her mother continued. Her voice was still calm, but it filled the whole room. "I want fair treatment for every child in Millfield." Maya felt proud as she watched her mother. She wasn't shouting, she wasn't even angry in the usual way. But everyone was listening. This was how her mother solved problems, not by making people feel small, but by helping them see the bigger picture. Chief Inspector Collins nodded slowly. "You're absolutely right, Mayor Wilson. Perhaps this situation offers us an opportunity to review our approach to community policing, especially where young people are concerned." Officer Thompson finally looked up from his shoes. His face showed something Maya hadn't seen before, not just embarrassment, but understanding beginning to dawn. Maya squeezed her money box. Perhaps the animals at the shelter would get their donation after all, and perhaps something even more important was happening right here in this police station, something about fairness and seeing people for who they really are. The end right in a warm, empathetic tone that connects with the reader on an emotional level. Show rather than tell emotions where possible. Use sensory details to bring scenes to life. Keep sentence structure simple while maintaining emotional impact. Use language that evokes compassion and understanding. Focus on universal human experiences that readers can relate to. Occasionally use rhetorical questions to engage the reader and prompt reflection. Night fell over Millfield. The streetlights came on one by one, casting pools of yellow light on the quiet streets. Above the Sweet Dreams Bakery, Officer James Thompson sat alone in his small flat. The smell of fresh bread still lingered in the air, coming through the floorboards from the bakery below. The television flickered in the corner, but James wasn't watching. A news presenter talked about something happening far away, but the words just floated past him. His tea had gone cold on the table. His dinner sat untouched on a plate. In his mind, he kept seeing a little girl with dark curls and a missing front tooth. The fear in her eyes when he approached her lemonade stand. The way she had tried to be brave when he told her to come with him to the station. The money box she held so carefully. For the animals, she had said. James got up and walked to the window. Millfield looked peaceful from up here, lights in windows, people going about their evening, a town where he had sworn to serve and protect. He turned and looked at the photo on his shelf, himself in his brand new uniform at his police academy graduation, his father standing proudly beside him. Both men looked so sure of themselves, so certain about right and wrong. James had grown up in Oakwood, a small village just outside Millfield. Everyone there looked the same, talked the same, lived the same kind of life. His father had been a police officer too. Always be on your guard, his father used to say. Assume the worst first, better safe than sorry. Those words had guided James for 15 years on the force. But today those same words felt wrong somehow. Heavy. When had safe turned into unfair? When had on guard become prejudiced? He picked up the photo and looked at his younger self. That fresh-faced officer had wanted to help people, hadn't he? To make Millfield safe for everyone? When had everyone started to mean only some people? Across town, in a cozy brick house near the park, Maya sat at the kitchen table with her mother. The kitchen smelled of chocolate and cinnamon. Steam rose from 2 blue mugs of hot chocolate. Tiny marshmallows bobbed on the surface like little boats. Maya wrapped her hands around her mug. The warmth felt good. The day had left her feeling cold inside, even though it had been sunny and warm outside. "Why did he only stop me, Mummy?" Maya asked. Her voice sounded smaller than usual. "Was it because I looked different?" Mayor Wilson looked at her daughter with gentle eyes. She took a deep breath and set her mug down carefully. "Sometimes people make judgments based on what they see on the outside," she said. "They think they know things about you before they even talk to you, but that doesn't mean you've done anything wrong." Maya stirred her hot chocolate with a spoon, watching the marshmallows spin. Should I be angry at him? Her mother didn't answer right away. She seemed to be thinking carefully about her words. "You have every right to feel upset," she said finally. "What happened today wasn't fair. But anger alone doesn't create change. Understanding does." Maya frowned. "But he doesn't understand me," she said, still stirring her drink. One marshmallow had melted completely now. "Then perhaps we need to create opportunities for understanding," her mother replied. Her voice had that special tone, the one she used when she was thinking of a plan. "People can grow and learn, just like you do at school. What if this could be a chance for our whole community to learn something important?" Maya thought about this. The marshmallows in her hot chocolate were getting smaller and smaller as they melted. "Like when Tommy called me names last term," she said slowly. "And then we had to work together on the science project about plants, and now we're friends?" Her mother's face brightened. "Exactly like that." She reached out and tucked a curl behind Maya's ear. "Sometimes the people who need to learn the most are the ones who don't even know they have a lesson waiting for them." Maya took a sip of her hot chocolate. It tasted sweet and warm. She thought about Officer Thompson and wondered if he was thinking about her too. In his flat above the bakery, James Thompson made a decision. He picked up his phone and looked up a number. Tomorrow, he would make a call to the mayor's office. He didn't know exactly what he would say, but he knew he needed to say something. People could change, he could change. Outside, the moon shone down on Millfield. The same moon that watched over the police station, and Maya's house and the corner of Maple Street, where a lemonade stand had stood that morning. Tomorrow would be a new day. The end write in a warm, empathetic tone that connects with the reader on an emotional level. Show rather than tell emotions where possible. Use sensory details to bring scenes to life. Keep sentence structure simple while maintaining emotional impact. Use language that evokes compassion and understanding. Focus on universal human experiences that readers can relate to. Occasionally use rhetorical questions to engage the reader and prompt reflection. The old town hall of Millfield stood tall in the spring sunshine. Today, people filled every seat in the big meeting room. Teachers sat next to shop owners. Grandparents chatted with young families. Police officers in uniform stood along the walls. Mayor Elizabeth Wilson walked to the front of the room. The crowd grew quiet. She wore a smart blue suit and a warm smile. 2 weeks had passed since the lemonade stand incident. In that time, she had been busy. "Thank you all for coming today," she said, her voice carried to every corner of the room. "Millfield has always been a special place, but even special places can grow better." She explained her new plan, the Millfield Community Connection Initiative. Her hands moved as she spoke about bringing people together who might not normally meet. Police officers and children, newcomers and old residents, people from different backgrounds learning from each other. "We have an opportunity," Mayor Wilson said, her eyes bright, "to build bridges where there are currently walls. This program will bring together our police officers and our young people through mentoring, community gardens, and regular workshops where we can learn from each other." Near the back of the room, Officer James Thompson shifted from one foot to the other. He had nearly not come today. What if people pointed and whispered about him? The officer who had taken the mayor's daughter to the station over a lemonade stand. But something had pulled him here anyway, a need to make things right. As people clapped for the mayor's speech, Officer Thompson watched her shake hands and talk with townsfolk. He took a deep breath and walked toward her. His mouth felt dry. "Mayor Wilson," he said when there was a break in the crowd, "I'd like to volunteer for the program." His voice came out quieter than he meant it to. "If you'll have me," he added. "Mayor." Wilson turned and looked at him. Not angry, but serious. She seemed to be looking right through him. "Officer Thompson," she said, "this isn't about punishment or public relations. It's about genuine change." He nodded. "I know," he replied. "That's why I'm here." Something in her face softened. She handed him a sign-up sheet. "We start with the community garden this Saturday," she said. 8 o'clock. Saturday morning arrived clear and bright. The community garden space behind the library had been empty for years. Now it was full of people with shovels and seeds and watering cans. Officer Thompson parked his car and walked toward the garden. He felt strange without his uniform. He wore old jeans with a hole in one knee and a faded blue t-shirt. He had arrived early to help set up, but many people were already there. He saw Maya before she saw him. She was kneeling in a patch of freshly turned soil, carefully making small holes with her finger. When she looked up and saw him, she stopped. For a moment, they just looked at each other across the garden. Then Maya stood up. She brushed dirt from her hands and walked over to where Officer Thompson stood. She held up a small paper packet. "I'm planting sunflowers," she said. "They need to face the sun to grow properly." Officer Thompson nodded. "I've never planted anything before," he admitted. He had always lived in apartments. His father had never gardened. The closest he had come to growing things was the cactus on his windowsill, and even that looked sad most of the time. Maya considered this. Then she said, "I can show you how." She held out the seed packet to him. "It's not hard, you just need to be gentle." Officer Thompson felt something tight in his chest loosen a little. Children could be so quick to forgive, to offer another chance. Before adults taught them to hold on to hurt, Maya showed him how to make holes in the soil with his finger. Not too deep, about this much. She showed him how to drop in a seed, just one in each hole or they get crowded, and how to cover them gently. Don't pat too hard, they need room to stretch. By lunchtime, they had planted a whole row together. Maya talked as they worked. About school, about the animal shelter, about how sunflowers follow the sun across the sky all day long. As weeks passed, Officer Thompson became a regular at the garden. He learned that Emily liked to read adventure books, that Marcus could name every dinosaur ever discovered, that Leo wanted to be a chef and grew 3 kinds of tomatoes. He learned that Maya played piano every day for 30 minutes, that she wanted to be a veterinarian when she grew up, that she had her mother's way of looking at a problem from all sides before deciding what to do. Back at the police station, things began to change too. One day, Officer Thompson raised his hand during a meeting. "Sir," he said to Chief Inspector Collins, "I've been looking at our patrol patterns. We spend a lot more time in certain neighborhoods than others. I wonder if we might balance that out." The other officers looked surprised, but Chief Inspector Collins nodded slowly. "That's a fair point, Thompson. Let's look at the data." Small changes began to ripple through Millfield like circles in a pond. Children who used to cross the street when they saw a police car now waved hello. Officers stopped to chat with shopkeepers and parents. People learned each other's names. And in the community garden, sunflowers began to grow. Their faces turned toward the light. The end right, in a warm, empathetic tone that connects with the reader on an emotional level. Show rather than tell emotions where possible. Use sensory details to bring scenes to life. Keep sentence structure simple while maintaining emotional impact. Use language that evokes compassion and understanding. Focus on universal human experiences that readers can relate to. Occasionally use rhetorical questions to engage the reader and prompt reflection. The town square of Millfield buzzed with happy voices. Colorful flags hung between lampposts. Music played from speakers tied to tree branches. The smell of popcorn and cotton candy filled the air. It was the first Millfield Community Unity Festival, exactly 1 year after the lemonade stand incident that had changed everything. Children ran lemonade stands all around the square. Each stand had a bright yellow sign with the words "Junior Business Permit" printed at the top. The town council had created these special permits just for the festival. Every child could have one, no matter who they were or where they lived. In Millfield, Maya Wilson's stand stood near the main stage. Her lemonade stand looked much like it had a year ago. Bright yellow tablecloth, hand-painted sign, neat rows of cups. But Maya herself had changed. She was taller now, and her front tooth had grown in. The money box still sat beside her, ready to collect funds for the animal shelter. Officer James Thompson walked across the square, carrying a heavy pitcher of fresh lemonade. His uniform looked different today. A light blue shirt with the words Community Liaison Officer on the badge. This new job had been created especially for him 6 months ago. "Here you go," he said, setting down the pitcher carefully. "That should keep you stocked up for a while." "Thanks," Maya said. She arranged paper straws in a jar. Her hands moved quickly, but Officer Thompson noticed they were shaking a little. "Nervous about your speech?" he asked gently. Maya nodded. "A little. Mum says it's normal to have butterflies." Officer Thompson smiled. "Your mum is very wise," he said. "And so are you." The festival crowd grew larger as noon approached. People from all parts of Millfield came together. Shop owners and teachers, farmers and office workers, families who had lived there for generations, and those who had just moved in. Children of all backgrounds played games on the grass. Mayor Elizabeth Wilson stepped onto the stage. The crowd clapped and cheered. She wore a bright yellow dress, the same color as the lemonade stand tablecloths. "Welcome everyone to our first Community Unity Festival," she said into the microphone. "What a journey this past year has been for Millfield. Today we celebrate how far we've come together." She spoke about the community garden behind the library, now full of vegetables and flowers. She mentioned the reading program where police officers visited schools each week. She thanked everyone who had volunteered for the many new programs that had sprung up around town. "And now," Mayor Wilson said, "I'd like to introduce a very special speaker, my daughter Maya." Maya took a deep breath and climbed the steps to the stage. Her speech was written on 3 cards that trembled slightly in her hands. The crowd went quiet. Hundreds of faces looked up at her. Officer Thompson gave her a thumbs up from his spot near the front. "A year ago," Maya began, her voice small at first but growing stronger, "something happened that made me feel small and scared. A police officer told me I couldn't sell lemonade without a permit. He took me to the police station. Some people in the crowd shifted uncomfortably. They remembered that day, the videos that had spread around town, the angry calls to the mayor's office. But sometimes, Maya continued, the hardest moments can turn into the most important ones if we're brave enough to learn from them. Officer Thompson stood very still, listening. He was not the same man who had approached Maya's lemonade stand a year ago. That man had been full of his father's old ideas, seeing threats where there were none. This man had learned to see people, really see them, for who they were. Our town isn't perfect, Maya said, looking out at all the faces, but we're learning together. My teacher says that's what community means. People who might be different, but choose to care about each other. Anyway, when she finished speaking, the applause was so loud it seemed to shake the leaves on the trees. People stood up to clap. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Officer Thompson found himself wiping away tears too. How had this child taught him so much? How had one mistake led to so much growth? Later, as the festival continued around them, Officer Thompson and Maya worked side by side at her lemonade stand. The line of customers stretched across the square. Everyone wanted to try Maya's famous lemonade, as the sign now called it. "We make a good team," Maya said as she carefully counted change for Mrs. Baker. "We do," Officer Thompson agreed, pouring another cup of lemonade. Then he added quietly, "Thank you for giving me the chance to become better." Maya smiled her gap-toothed smile at him. Above them, tall sunflowers from the community garden stood in pots, their bright faces turned toward the sun. Just like the sunflowers, the people of Millfield had learned to turn toward the light of understanding. That night, as the festival ended and the stars came out, Officer Thompson helped clean up the square. He picked up a crumpled program from the ground and smoothed it out. The words Community Unity Festival were printed across the top. One small mistake. One brave little girl. One mother who saw a chance for change instead of revenge. Sometimes that's all it takes for a whole town to learn to see with new eyes. The end.